Thank you, Eric, for taking the time to answer our questions.
Pleasure.
First of all, can you just introduce yourself and talk very briefly about GR Silver, what you do, and how long you've been in operation and so on?
Sure. So I'm originally a geologist. When I got married and realized I wanted to stay being married, I would come out of the field as a geologist and become a mining analyst.
Okay.
So I spent 34 years as a mining analyst, retired at the end of 2019. I was the global head of mining research for a large firm. And then I joined a number of boards, one of which is GR Silver. A year later became the chair, and then a couple years later became the CEO of the company. So GR Silver has done a great job building a portfolio of properties in Sinaloa, Mexico, and the founder, Marcio Fonseca, has done a great job building the team.
Is he still in the company?
He is still in the company. He is the president and the chief operating officer. I'm the CEO and the chair. And so with the company now having a balance sheet that has been cleaned up, not having any debt, now we can raise money to start drilling again.
That was about to be one of the questions to which you just answered. No debt right now.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
It's just normal payables that one has as a company going forward.
Is it appropriate to ask what's GM Silver Mining current balance, cash balance as of today, and what's the monthly burn rate?
Yeah.
What is it?
We got $1.8 million from warrant exercise that occurred in the middle of February.
Okay.
And that took the balance over $2 million. We are in the process. We started drilling again about a week ago.
Okay.
And when you have a drill program, of course, there's a burn rate associated with that.
Yes.
But our normal burn rate is approximately $150,000 a month.
$150,000 a month.
Before exploration.
Yes.
So we're now going to spend about $500,000 on this current drill program, the first phase for 2025. And obviously, an exploration company has to raise more money.
Yes.
So we will be opportunistic. We're not in a rush to raise next week or next month, but we will have to raise over the next few months when the stock is strong.
As of today, with the current market conditions and the price of silver and of course the price of gold, is it easier to raise money, or do you think?
Yes,
Yes.
There's more interest today, and talking to some of the larger fund managers here at this conference, they are now seeing inflows of capital into the funds, which they then have the luxury of placing, and hopefully they will be supportive of what GR Silver is doing.
So my understanding of the situation is that you will be raising funds through equity,
Yes.
and that can you tell us about what the planned expenditures for this year and hopefully next year will be?
Well, we'd like to raise something like $5 million, and that would be sufficient for a 9 to 12 month budget.
Okay. So no debt, you said to me.
Correct.
About, okay. What kind of specific strategy did you develop to control cost in exploration, drilling, of course, development and administration? These are budget-consuming things.
Yes, very much so. So we had a large number of employees several years ago, and the way the labor laws are in Mexico, it's very difficult to downsize or right-size the company, but we managed to get through. We have a current staff of around 20 people in Mexico, 3 people in the head office in Vancouver. So we've been very careful, and we've greatly reduced our overhead costs. Now, from an exploration perspective, one of the great things that Marcio did was buy 5 rigs. So we have our own drill rigs. And so
They belong to the company.
Yes, correct.
They are on the balance sheet.
They are on the balance sheet. And what's also important is to have trained the local people as drillers and drill helpers, geological assistants, camp managers, all that sort of thing. So that's very important from a community and social responsibility perspective. Community relationship is extremely strong as a result. But it also means that it's very efficient from a drilling perspective, drill cost perspective. When we were at our peak drilling and maximum efficiency, our cost got down below $120 Canadian per meter, which is extremely attractive. Right now I'm budgeting for something closer to 300 because we're limited number of drills in a smaller program.
Okay. And will you plan to do partnerships or start joint ventures, or do you intend to do most of the exploration on your own?
The main project for us is exploration of San Marcial. San Marcial has the greatest upside potential.
And you're doing it alone?
And that is where we're drilling, and we're doing that on our own. However, we also have the former Plomosas mine.
Plomosas project, yes, I was about
Well,
to
the whole thing is the Plomosas project, but within that is the Plomosas mine.
Okay.
And the Plomosas mine is fully developed, 7.4 kilometers of underground development, fully permitted, has the agreements with the local ejidos, the local cooperatives, and is all set to go with excellent infrastructure. It does not, however, have a mill. So we are talking with potential partners to find ways of monetizing that, because we don't believe the market pays for that particular asset. So we will find a way of advancing that project as well.
In our discussion previously, we talked about the difference, about the valuations of the silver that you have in your ground and how the markets value that.
That's right.
Can you elaborate more for our viewers?
Currently, we're trading at approximately 60 cents US per ounce in the ground. Okay? Now, which means when we can explore, and our last resource increase was done at 25 cents US per ounce. That's an excellent value generator. If you spend 25 cents to get a valuation of 60 cents, there is, however, the good potential to increase the multiple that's applied to our ounces. One, by increasing the number of ounces that have a larger critical mass, but secondly, by demonstrating that these are economic.
It's actually there.
That it's there, but it's also potentially economic. And that increases the amount that the market gives you per ounce. So we see 2 reasons to see an increase in the valuation of the company. Increased ounces and increased valuation.
And the third would be the increase in the price of the silver ounce.
Completely separate from that, absolutely. I mean, I can make a case for silver going up. One, because it's a precious metal and it goes up with gold. But 2, because of the industrial demand. 20% of silver demand today is photovoltaics, solar panels, right? And we see India grabbing as much physical silver as they can to support their solar panel industry.
Agreed.
Right? And so that all supports a potentially higher price for silver. But to me, it's more important, get that good project going, the project that has value at different silver prices.
What are the estimated costs for permits, licensing from the government, and environmental constraints?
Yeah, it's very important. Mexico has changed under the Sheinbaum administration. Rightly so, they are very focused on mitigating environmental damage, but also social change. That if there is a change in the cultural aspect, that is mitigated as well. And so one has to spend money to get what's called a MIA, which is the environmental permit, but also a new permit related to the social, which is a MIS. And so the actual cost of that is not very clear at this point, but it's something measured in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it takes some months, 6 to 12 months, let's say. And so it's good that we have clarity now on what it takes to be permitted to proceed.
Yes, that was going to be one of my following questions. It seems, when I did research on your company, that you have strong community engagement in Mexico. Can you let us know what specifically you're doing?
Yeah, well, the first thing is this aspect of drilling and employing lots of local people.
But every drilling company does that.
No, they don't. Not to the same extent. Many companies will employ a drill contractor, and the contractor will bring drillers from Quebec or Nevada or wherever. But
not
when
employing locals as you do.
Exactly. If you own your own rigs and you employ the local people, that has a very positive influence on your relationship with your community.
Do you manage? How do you manage financial risk? Like, of course, the changing price of gold and silvers, and also the fact that you operate in Mexico, in a non-USD country, whereas your stock market is in USD. The currency change. How do you manage all that?
Well, we keep it relatively simple from a cash management perspective. The monthly budget, there's a call for cash to come from Canada to go to Mexico, and so that's very clear. We have very clear controls on our expenditures and how that is measured. In terms of the actual currency fluctuations, there's not an awful lot one can do. One could do hedging, but of course, when you're talking about a small company with a small budget, you can't get too sophisticated. You have to be very straightforward. But the most important financial risk management was to get rid of our debt.
Yep.
That was essential. And now that that's done, we have a clean balance sheet. There's much less risk associated with that. And I'm actually able to sleep past 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. I'm not very familiar, so I'm going to ask you a basic question. Is it possible as an exploration company to hedge the silver that's supposed to be in the ground? And if so, do you do that?
Not at the exploration stage.
Not at the exploration stage.
Right.
Only at production stage.
Some companies, when they're developing, they will pre-sell some of their product. It's a form of debt, really.
Yes, it's
right?
a form of debt.
And so that is part of the mix that some people use. To me, however, investors have not viewed favorably if you pre-sell your primary commodity.
Yes.
Right? So if we're a company that's attracting silver investors, they would be very unhappy if we were to sell our silver forward. The alternative is to do that with a non-primary commodity. So for example, maybe we could do a gold loan or something to that effect. But
it's not in
it's not ideal. And it's early.
And you don't plan to do that?
Not at this point, no.
Are you satisfied with the way you communicate with your shareholders and the financial community? Do you have a X Twitter account, websites? Do you engage in communicating as much as you can? Well, obviously you're participating to this summit, but what else are you doing?
No, I think we could do a lot better. Because of, again, the debt situation, we pulled back on our expenditures. So we do not have a full-time IR person. We do not pay people to promote us. So I do, and RCO does, many things like posting on social media. We do use social media. We do have news releases, of course. We do participate now in these conferences, and one has to be select which conferences that one participates in. Some of them are much better than others and are worth the time. This is one of the more important ones.
By the way, I'm not aware that there are such conferences in France. Have you heard about conferences like that?
No, not in France, no.
Yes, so it's mostly Switzerland, Germany, maybe England?
Yes, England, definitely London, but I don't think I've ever heard of a conference in Paris.
Yeah, me too. I was just curious because you have been in the field longer than I have been. Yeah. Okay, my last question will be for the potential investors, French investors of GR Cyber. What would you tell them to make them interested in investing in the stock market? Okay, we got that. Now the company is debt free, but what's the future? How will you sell your company?
Well, the three key points. One is the exploration potential of the San Marcial discovery. We are very confident in our geological model that we can expand the number of resources there. Two is that we have a mine sitting there, a former mine that's fully developed and permitted, ready to go. We just have to find the right partner to work with us to move that forward.
With the right partner, you're talking about a big production company like Agnico Eagle or? Not
necessarily, because right now there are no technical studies other than internal to support putting that back into production. It is probably too small for the very large companies. So it's more appropriate to have a partner that is a small producer, perhaps already a producer in Mexico. That's a suitable size for them. The third leg for us is to participate in the consolidation that's going on in the Mexican industry. So it's our plan to get married with a company that already has cash flow.
Yes, okay.
So that we can restructure the company, multi-assets, reduce the risk, and go forward in that mode.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, thank you, Eric.
Pleasure.
A pleasure
Very
talking
nice
to you.
speaking with you.
Thanks.